We be live.
Hello.
Hello. D saying, woo, news time, bitches. And okay, cool. We have Rudrish here, we have AGAs here, we have Will Philly here, we have USSR 2.0 here. That's an interesting name. We have Music Guy here. We have Emmett Browns here. Hi everyone. And Music Guy is confirming that the audio is good. We're going to be covering the news on atheism, religion, secularism, and related stuff. Ghost Bunny saying, "Oh my God, hello, hi Ghost Bunny." Right on time. Secularities stay right on time, so good. That means we can start because secularity is here. Okay, cool. Hi, Christopher. All right, cool. Today's news, is it generally good news or bad news? I think I have mail.
We had like 2 weeks of like pretty normal good news, and then this week it's a rougher week. We're going back to a rougher week. I'm not gonna lie. But I did what you suggested, where I put the heavy stuff at the front, and then it just gets progressively better.
Okay. But the first one is also very good.
Well, yes, this is the most amazing thing in the world. So I had to change as soon as I heard about it, I changed the whole lineup, and this came first.
All right, hold on, let me share the screen. All right, so I don't have to ask.
Wait a second. Dorina is saying hello there from the Republic of Moldova. Oh, well, wow. Hello from Atheist Republic.
Yeah. Hi, Dorina. So I'm gonna clap for the first news.
Yes.
Right? Oh wait, we're also live on Twitch. Thank you so much for confirming that, guys. Follow us on Twitch. Link in the description. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Right? I said YouTube. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna clap. First news.
Secular activist Raif Badawi freed from Saudi prison after 10 years. After 10 long years, Raif Badawi, a prominent human rights advocate and founder of Saudi Free Liberals Forum, is finally free after being arrested in 2012. In 2008, Badawi started the Saudi Free Liberals Forum, an online blog where members debated the political and religious affairs of Saudi Arabia. In 2012, Badawi was arrested in Jeddah and charged with, quote unquote, insulting Islam through electronic channels. He was initially punished with 1,000 lashes. In 2013, the punishment was extended to 7 years of imprisonment and 600 more lashes. However, in 2014, the Saudi Supreme Court upheld the initial sentence of 1,000 lashes and extended Badawi's sentence to 10 years in prison. He was also fined more than $260,000, and a 10-year-long travel ban was imposed on him. Ensaf Haider, Raif's wife, has been living in Quebec, Canada, along with their 3 children since Raif's arrest. Ensaf told agency France Press that her husband called her about his release. Reporters Without Borders tweeted that they will ensure that he will be able to rejoin his family in Canada despite his 10-year travel ban.
Oh, wait, he can leave?
No.
He can leave? Oh.
So this is very similar to the feminist activist Lena Al-Hathlul, who, fought for women to be able to drive in Saudi Arabia after she was finally released from prison. They put a travel ban on her for at least 2 years, which is, people interpret as a way so that these people can't become celebrities, escape and become celebrities and human rights campaigners abroad. It's to keep them under their control, within their jurisdiction, and under their thumb, and keep them silenced.
Right. And so he needs to stay in Saudi Arabia for another 10 years?
That is what the judge ruled back several years ago. But there are lots of people who are going to be fighting for him to leave before that. There's been huge global campaigns for Raif since his arrest, and it's really unfortunate that he actually did have to serve his full sentence. I believe his sentence finished on February 28th. So he had to serve the full 10 years. But so I was talking to Ali Rizvi, and Ali is a family friend of the Badawis and is often talks to the press on behalf of Raif's case. And he was saying that now it's really, really important time to mobilize. Like, the fact that he was released is amazing news. And this really needs to be breathe like new life into fighting for his case so that we can help get diplomatic pressure so that he will be released early. And what's really interesting, actually, well, the video that I want to play will go into this, but I have to say the government of Canada has really gone, I mean, there's things to criticize, but for the most part has gone above and beyond to campaign for Raif, who is a non-citizen, as well as his sister, who Samar Badawi is a female rights activist who's been imprisoned many times in Saudi Arabia for her activism. And Canada froze relations with Saudi over the case of the Badawis, who are non-citizens. So there's a lot of hope in terms of how the government of Canada can really go further in intervening and maybe getting him home faster.
So Ghost Bunny saying the travel ban is effing stupid. He's not free until he's able to be reunited with his family. Is his family going to meet with him in Saudi Arabia, or they're going to stay out of Saudi Arabia?
I have no idea. They haven't spoken about that, anything like that, to the press. But I mean, I can't. That doesn't seem safe to me.
Yeah, that doesn't seem safe at all. So technically, after even when he's free, he still can't see his family. So technically, he went from a smaller jail cell to just a bigger cell jail. He's still kind of in jail. He's just free within the country, but he's still not free because he can't. He has to watch. He can't be open about what he's saying. He can't be critical. His family now have to be more careful about what they say because they could easily just put him back in jail. So, and we can't be very aggressive about how we talk about this because we don't want to. We don't want to cause too much trouble as well for him to go back in jail. So technically, like, this is like kind of scary, I mean, not kind of scary. It's very scary. Like, you have to watch yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And definitely. It's so frustrating because you have to actually be. This is a case where you have to actually be very polite when you're doing your activism against, for him to actually become free, like real free out of Saudi Arabia. You have to be careful not to make things worse. So these people who are responsible for all these human rights violations, and you want to basically give them a piece of your mind, you just have to be very respectful and be very gentle about like, thank you so much for bringing him out of jail. You're so amazing. Thank you. Can we please have him out of the country, right? Because you can't give him. These are evil people, but you can't give them a piece of your mind because now you're gonna go put him back in jail if you don't watch what you say. So it's so infuriating that you have to be so respectful to the people who have separated the father of your children, right, from your children for 10 years, and instead of being angry with them, you have to act like that you are, oh my God, thank you so much for just letting him free right now. Like, imagine having to thank the people who have did this to your family. Like, that's torture. That's psychological torture. I don't know. I hate it. I don't know.
It's so messed up.
Yeah.
Could you play that video that I sent you? Because it explains another interesting aspect of this. Dolly is saying, this is crazy. They want to imprison him in the country. Are those people for real? It's happened to a lot of other people, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is... All right, hold on. Let's go. Guys, can you please don't distract me with other news? We're talking about this news right now. Okay.
Every Friday for a decade, loud demands here for Raif Badawi's freedom.
Enfin, Oh my God.
But today,
Même les mots.
his wife says she can't find the words. Her husband released at last after 10 years in a Saudi prison.
Ça fait longtemps que je pars.
It's been a long time since I've woken up in the morning with a smile, she says. In 2012, Badawi was jailed in Saudi Arabia after he criticized religious figures and promoted liberal values of Islam online. His sentence included 1,000 lashes. He received 50 in a public square. That sparked widespread outrage, the United Nations calling it cruel and inhuman. After that, he was not lashed again, though he did serve the full time.
Je vais lui dire qu'on a qu'il revienne ici.
His daughter, now 18, says she can't wait to see him, but that reunion is uncertain. Another condition Badawi faces, a 10-year travel ban upon release.
As far as organizations like Lawyers Without Borders, we will continue the campaign. We will continue to have a close watch on this, and we hope this part of the sentence is not applied.
Activists say the federal government should also step in.
There's still a lot of other places where Canada can meet and discuss with Saudi Arabia, the United Nations being one, but there's plenty of other places to discuss.
Badawi's wife has Canadian citizenship. He doesn't, though Parliament did unanimously pass a motion asking Ottawa to grant it to him, a move pushed by the Bloc Québécois. But the government has not gone ahead with it yet. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeted today that officials are now working to seek clarity on the conditions of Badawi's release, while his family and friends say they'll keep fighting until he's here.
Wait, they said something here that I wanted to add a point, but then I forgot what the point was. Hold on.
Wait to see him full time.
Je vais lui dire qu'on a qu'il revienne.
Calling it cruel and inhuman.
I forgot.
After that, he was not lashed again, though he
Oh yeah, not lashed again. I just want to highlight this point one more time because he was supposed to get more lashes than he got, but it was online activism that a lot of people dismiss as useful. That eventually got those lashes to be removed. Like a lot of people always act like, oh my God, it's Saudi Arabia. Do you really think that Saudi Arabia cares about your online petition? Like, apparently they do. Okay. Apparently somebody managed to get less lashes on their back because of the online pressure that all these activists managed to bring on. So whenever, like, so many people dismiss online activism. Like, remind them of this. Remind them, like, there's sometimes, yeah. Here's an honest truth. Most of the time, it doesn't work. Most of the time, it doesn't work. Sometimes it works. And these online activism, like trending a hashtag or signing a petition, it doesn't cost you anything. So give it the goddamn signature. Make the goddamn tweet with the hashtag, because of the few times that it does. The few times that it does make a difference, makes the whole thing worth it. Even if it works 1% of the time, that's at least one person not getting like hundreds of lashes on their back. It's so popular how people dismiss this. Even PewDiePie, I was like, oh my God, look at these petitions. People think petitions making difference. The world's biggest, individual YouTuber, like, is just spreading around the idea that these petitions don't work. So imagine if they are actually working. Imagine spreading that idea in the world that they don't work. How irresponsible do you have to be to actually be spreading the idea that something that could have saved someone's lives, putting that idea out that it might not work, that it never works. Are you not afraid of being actually responsible for somebody experiencing more lashes on the back because something that you didn't do any research on whether or not it works? You just irresponsibly claiming that it doesn't work because it doesn't work in a couple of instances that you saw. Like, you have to be, how could you sleep at night knowing that there's a possibility that you are responsible for taking the power away from a tool that actually could make a difference? Anyways, online activism, don't completely dismiss it. People are like, oh, you're just keyboard warriors, like you don't do anything. Well, You see, it makes a difference. Show these examples to people who want to dismiss it. Anyways.
I'm so happy.
No. Susanna is genuinely happy. Look at her. No. What? Tell us. What is it?
Wait, can you like scroll down so we can see that picture?
Which one? This one?
Yeah. Like
Oh.
when I watched that news story about them celebrating yesterday, I was just like, holy crap, look at how big she is. You know, like what really struck me is Raif is the same age as you, Armin. And you're muted.
No, I said, wow, I didn't know that.
He's been in this prison since he was 27. Since he was like the same age as me. I don't know. What has happened to this family really breaks my heart. Just because he wanted to promote better ideas to people. For doing something that we take for granted every day, or most people take for granted every day. And the rights they take for granted every day, for saying that's something worthwhile, that I would like to have, that I think my community should have. And his wife must be one of the strongest people alive. To take her 3 children by herself to a new country. Figure out how to raise them, provide for them, and protect them. By herself, standing by her husband for 10 years. And starting global campaigns for his defense. I'm in complete awe of the character and person that Ensaf is. Like, the strength of character that takes. It's astounding. And you know something that I just found out yesterday? The volunteer who helps us on our team write the blurbs for the news told me that in Urdu or in Arabic, Ensaf actually means justice.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh. Ensaf is, by the way, for people who are not following, is the name of the wife. Or Raif.
And
wow, that's that's so poetic. It's amazing.
I'm just so happy for their family. And I know that it's going to be a lot longer than anyone would like before they can see each other again. But it's a huge step forward. So. I get so emotional about this. This is the 3rd time I've cried since yesterday over this.
Yeah, and actually, you know, I'm glad you put that in perspective, because I have to remind everybody that he's going through all of this simply for wanting more for his country, for things that the rest of us just simply have and are so ungrateful for, that we just take for granted. Like just being able, having freedom of speech, having secularism, you know, rights that we enjoy, that other people like him have sacrificed so much, and we're just like, of course it should be like this. Of course it is. Like, duh. Like, this is how it is. You know, the de facto state of things are like this. But like, so many other countries don't have that, and somebody dares just mention that this might be a better way to live, and they have to pay this price. This is, A huge price.
Like, Armin, you
And-
started Atheist Republic 10 years ago. Think about if that whole time in your life was actually just a prison.
Yeah. Well, I started Atheist Republic when I was in Iran, but that's the reason why I didn't, I didn't come out. I just used the label Atheist Republic. I never used my name or anything because I was afraid of something like this. So I only became public about it when I left, right? But yeah, imagine I would be, Atheist Republic like started 15 years ago. Like imagine like 5 years ago in Iran, I was arrested for it while I was still in Iran, and I would be coming out now. Jesus Christ. God damn it. All that time I was in jail. Holy crap, man. Okay. Why are you scaring me like this, Susanna? This is like putting things in perspective.
This is what I think about.
all that time. God damn it. And I've that's horrifying. And I don't have children. Imagine it would be like I would be, imagine you had children that are growing up and you're not even seeing them every day. That's like hell on earth. Yeah, never. Yeah. That's not a price anybody should pay. God damn it.
Yeah.
Not that a price anybody should pay for anything, let alone just for like, hey, how about some secularism here? How about some free speech here? Just like, and saying it in the most polite, mild manner. You know what I mean? Like if you go and see what Raif said, he was like, just like, nothing he said was like in any aggressive or impolite or radical way, right? He just said the most mildest things in the most polite manner. Nobody deserves like this punishment, let alone for a crime that is not a crime at all. God,
Today I learned that he's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that helps us case.
Yeah.
Anything in the live chat you want? Yeah, go on.
The last thing I want to say is, like I said earlier, this is a huge cause for celebration, but it is also a call to mobilize. So I encourage people to go look up Raif's case on Amnesty International because they provide a lot of resources about how you can help campaign for him, because now is a really important time to push. And I will also be talking to some people I know about to see what we can do as well. So big cause for celebration. And I want to give a special thank you to the Atheist Republic news team, because this news happened yesterday. Usually we can never turn a news item around that fast, but for this, we pushed and we did it. So thank you to the AR news team.
Good job to our editors and our news team. Fantastic. And our writers. And you, by the way, yeah. Thank you, Susanna, for making sure we have this news. Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah, this is just like ridiculous and silly.
Okay, good. We needed that. Next news.
Next news. Patriarch of Russian Orthodox Church blames liberal values for the Ukraine war. On March 6th, during a Forgiveness Sunday sermon, Patriarch Kirill, the head of the Russian Orthodox Church, hinted that pride parades may have played a role in the conflict that escalated into the invasion of Ukraine. Kirill implied that the expanding adoption of liberal Western values justified Putin's war. According to him, the war in Ukraine is a test of which side of God humanity will be on. He also described the war as a conflict between the supporters of gay pride parades, including the Western governments, and Russia. Quote, in order to join the club of those countries, you have to have a gay pride parade, he said. Kirill accused Ukraine of warming up to the Western powers by allowing LGBT communities in gay pride parades to flourish. He claimed that, quote, if humanity accepts that sin is a variation of human behavior, The human civilization will end there. He seemed to imply that Putin is protecting the values of the Russian-speaking and heavily contested Donbass region in eastern Ukraine, stating, quote, "In Donbass, there is a rejection, a fundamental rejection of those so-called values that are offered today by those who claim world power." Kirill explained, quote, "We know that if people or countries reject these demands, they are not a part of that world. They become strangers to it." His comments have led to a schism within several Russian Orthodox communities and public calls for him to amend his statements.
Yeah, this is why the Ukraine-Russia war has turned into conservative versus liberal values global side. Like you see, a lot of right-leaning people just taking the side of Putin on this because they think that this is more about Russia and Ukraine. This is about two different value systems. Like Ukraine has become the stage for, the fight between good and evil. And what they consider to be good is traditional family values, right? And against this degeneracy and this crime against nature itself, and all things good and all things wholesome and all things that makes a society whole, like the father and the mother and the traditional gender roles and all of that. By the way, this guy looks like a chess piece, doesn't he?
Wait. What did you just say to me?
I always thought like the bishops and the chess piece. Why do they look like, how is this a bishop, right? It doesn't look anything like a bishop. Now I realize that apparently the bishops on a chess piece, they're like ultra Orthodox bishops, because because he looks exactly like one of those chess pieces.
Dolly saying, yes, he does look like a chess piece. Oh my God.
I'm not wrong.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this whole, what you were saying about this contention of it, in some ways it's a reflection, or people are do you think it's a reflection of, or people are just imposing the culture war narrative onto this conflict? Because what you were saying about, seeing it as these values of tradition versus like modern degeneracy is that there are a lot of right-leaning people in the US who side with Russia because they think that it is a better reflection of their values than the United States. Like there was this woman, I think she's like running for Congress, who was saying like, yeah, he's for Christian nationalism, like he's against abortion, he's against, this LGBT agenda, blah, blah, blah. And she was openly praising Putin for these things. And I was like, oh, girl. What do you think? Do you think there is an aspect of this that is genuinely about culture war, or is that just something that, because the culture war is a topic that is discussed, in society, that this is just being imposed onto this conflict?
No, I think it is about the culture war because I think COVID broke Putin's brain, right?
Maybe like that. Maybe.
No, yeah, I think he genuinely thinks this is a battle between light and darkness. You know how I know this?
Oh boy! Oh, why? Why?
No, because he said so, right? No, he literally said so. Like he comes and he thinks that. Okay, so I don't know if you know much about KGB agents, okay? But they be a bunch of conspiracy theorists, right?
Oh no, they're really paranoid.
They're extremely paranoid. Okay, so Putin is also an ex-KGB. Actually, he's not an ex-KGB agent, because he claims that once you are a KGB agent, you will always be a KGB agent. So he's still a KGB agent. Okay, that's what he said, right? But these people think like, I don't know if you're a KGB agent, okay, and you open your fridge and you want milk and you ran out of milk, the world is conspiring against you to make sure you don't get milk this morning. Okay, that's how it works. Okay,
They're trying to deprive me of calcium because they want me to be weak so the US can take over.
Yeah. So these are people, like, seriously, these people think like there's like ears in every goddamn wall, and the most minor things is like it's chess move between the great powers, right? That's what they think, right? They're like, and Putin hates the fact that he thinks the natural order of things is for the world to have two great powers, right? He doesn't even want, like, for example, the United States to fall. He wants, like, he likes the idea of having, he thinks like everything would be in balance if there's two competing world powers just like correcting each other, right? So he, like, how bad situations were during the Cold War? Putin thinks that was fantastic. Right? He just thinks he thinks the world is going out of balance because there's one world power and there's not another world power to keep this other world power in check, right? And he thinks it's not just like politics that is out of order because of this imbalance. He thinks nature is now being threatened, like everything good and natural, like all this weird degeneracy that is coming out of West is potentially because of not having any resistance to whatever values is coming out of this other world power, right? Like, because if it was, it would be limited to what ridiculousness it could introduce to the world, right? So he wants to make Russia back to being the superpower that it was, not just because of Mother Russia, okay, but because of what makes, for humanity itself, apparently, okay, for the sake of putting nature back in order, right? So that these people, apparently, according to Putin, don't come and suggest that men could be women, women could be men. Again, this is not my, like, Putin, and again, these are Putin's, like, I'm not microanalyzing. I'm not like a psychologist that is, these are his words, okay? I'm like, so he thinks he's the great corrector, right? And by the way, for you atheists out there who think like Putin, atheist right-leaning people who think Putin is based, he thinks religion has a major role to play to fight against any religion. He doesn't even care, right? He thinks traditional religious values are a guardian for these values, for these conservative values, right? Because he wants to fight this fight.
Interesting.
Yeah, on an individual.
He would be kind of correct, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would be. That's why he defends religion. Like, that's why he's not like one of the things he disagrees with communism. He wants to use religion as a tool to fight against these Western values on an individual basis, not just on a geopolitical basis. He thinks religion is the way to go into people's households, and because politics, politics cannot do that, right? So he's a defender of traditional religions as well. Yeah, so he this is not, they literally think they are these liberal values are forces of darkness. He calls them that. So yeah, welcome to the dark side. By the way, this is the dark side. We are apparently...
yeah, we're like, holy crap, man.
Right. This is why he needs to be crushed, by the way.
Yeah. Well, man, this makes me want to ask you other questions about this issue right now, but it's off topic from the news story.
Just one more thing, though. The reason why I think COVID broke him, because he's already like that. He's like already prone to like conspiracies and stuff. But Russia, during the pandemic, they went through. They acted like this is not a thing. Okay. This is why they had one of the worst like cases, like it spread everywhere, because they didn't lock down. They they were really bad at it. And relative to other countries, like it was spreading like more than most other countries. It was horrible. Russia was this was a huge blow to Russian people. Okay, but even though to Russian people they were like not locking down and just letting the Russian people pay the heavy price for it, Putin himself treated it like a plague individually. I don't know if you know this. So they were publicly they were acting like this is nothing, but privately Putin, he isolated himself. He was so paranoid. I think some people argue that's the whole reason behind these long tables, that he has when he meets with people. He's extreme. Like I don't know if he's a germaphobe or it's because of the pandemic that he's now a lot more sensitive, but he has gone through 2 years of isolation. Okay, like not meeting with that many people, except some people that are crazier than even him, right? Like, no, seriously, like
I know.
Originally, when Putin came to power, he was meeting with a diverse group of people and opinions, including a lot of people who were more liberal-minded and more in line with like opening to the world. And you could see the effect that those people had on him, on his policies, and it was good. But more and more, he's now the circle of people who are around him are people who are crazier than even him, and he's actually among those people. He's the more rational thinker. Like he's the one that is like calming them down
moderate.
because they're moderate compared to them, right? But he's been isolating himself more and more, especially during the pandemic. And it might be, again, I don't know about this, but some people, experts, are arguing that maybe all that separation has made him even more prone to conspiracy and also thinking of, anyways, overplaying his role or overseeing his role or his greatness and, and what he can do and what this is all about, right? Yeah, so might be. Anyways, do you want to read some? You want to add anything?
He's saying that he had the longest table ever.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that the internet has as much of a collective fascination with Putin's tables as I do. Like I really like get in there and like psychologically analyze like these freaking tables, man. Or the rooms where he has his cabinets for television, the proportions of the rooms and where he's standing, what's going are just bonkers. So it's something I definitely have a lot of interest
in. All right. Do you want to read any other comments before I bring up the next news?
Music guy is saying that he's compensating.
No, I don't think Putin needs to compensate, but okay. Actually, he does. Yeah, but never mind. I won't talk about more of Putin's psychology today. Okay. What?
You're just funny.
Okay. All right. Can I clap for the next? Oh no, I can't. Jesus.
No, this is not good news at all. This is actually like one of the worst news we've covered in a while.
Okay, next news.
Next news: bombing at Shia Mosque kills. Bombing at Shia Mosque in Pakistan kills over 60, claimed by ISIS. Armin, do you think I can say the full name?
Yeah, let's just say it from now.
Okay.
Fine.
So,
don't care.
On March 4th, a Shia mosque in Peshawar in northern Pakistan was attacked during Friday prayers by a suicide bomber, leaving at least 63 dead and 196 injured. The Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack. The chief of the Peshawar police stated that the police guarding the mosque had an encounter with 2 attackers. One of the attackers and one of the officers were killed during the ensuing crossfire. A senior police official added that the remaining attacker, quote, entered the mosque and started firing on the worshippers before detonating the bomb. Officers have said that the bomb was packed with 5 kilograms of explosives as well as ball bearings, which caused massive casualties. Imran Khan, Pakistan's prime minister, in a tweet called the incident a, quote, cowardly terrorist attack. Reuters reported that even though the Pakistani Taliban is known for attacking the minority Shia community, they have distanced themselves from this particular attack.
Okay, Ghost Bunny, I don't think you understand. Ghost Bunny is asking, why would Islamic State attack their own people? It doesn't make any sense. Why are they killing other Muslims?
Oh
Okay,
my
Ghost Bunny.
goodness.
Oh my, Ghost Bunny, where have you been? These are Shias. These are their worst enemies. This is the greatest insult to them for you to say that these are their people. I was actually, when you were describing the news, I was just thinking about the ISIS shooter, like when he's like shooting at all these people inside the mosque. How, I can just imagine in his mind, he doesn't have to worry about a single one of these bullets being justified or not, because to them, the Shias, again, YouTube, this is not my word, okay? I'm just describing other people's word. These are to the ISIS shooter, these are the worst of all people, right? Like, you cannot, when you're shooting into a crowd of people praying inside a Shia mosque, he doesn't have to, in his mind, he doesn't have to worry a single bit at all whether or not any of these kills are justified, because they are praying inside the Shia mosque, right? He feels so justified in every single kill. He must feel so honored and so proud of knowing that none of these bullets are going to waste. Because how much more confident can you be about whether or not you're killing the right people if you are inside a mosque of Shia prayers, according to like an ISIS shooter? It must,
For people who aren't familiar, can you explain what the animosity is? Why the hatred? Because that's not obvious, about what between the practices, the shirk, all that stuff. So for someone who isn't familiar, can you explain?
Yeah, I mean, Shias are people who have done according to maybe people from ISIS and many other Sunni fundamentalist groups, and arguably fundamentals of Sunni Islam. These are people who are doing the greatest harm to Islam and committing the greatest sins, so much of a sin that it's its own category, not even a sin, right? The most fundamental part of Islam is the concept of Tawheed, which is the oneness of God. And there's nothing more damaging to Islam when people challenge that with a concept called shirk, which is bringing partners to God, bringing partners in worship to Allah under the disguise of Islam itself. You know what I mean? These Shias would be more hated by Sunnis, by these Sunnis, than us, for example, because what we do, we don't call it Islam. These people are like, changing Islam, corrupting Islam under the banner of Islam, right? What could be more corrupt? What could be more evil than that in their minds, right? Like, I think most people here in the live chat know that the main enemies of ISIS are Shia Muslims. Like, it's not atheists, it's not Western imperialism, it's not Zionism, it's not the Jews. The main enemies of ISIS is Shia Muslims. They consider the greatest corruption, the greatest insult to Islam, right? So yeah.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting about this is the fact, well, this was Islamic State in Khorasan. I can never say it right. How do you pronounce it the right way, Armin?
Khorasan.
Okay. And so there are some news reports that claim that this was carried out by an ISK member from Afghanistan. And then that person came across the border and went to Peshawar to do this. So far, the authorities are not really acknowledging if that's true, but I believe that's what ISK is claiming, which is interesting considering that there's been a lot of contention with Afghanistan and Pakistan with militants. And I think there is a contention right now, partially because the government wants Afghanistan to release some of the Pakistani Taliban members back to Pakistan, but they won't do it. This is also one of the most deadly attacks that's happened on Pakistan in years. And now this issue is really starting to rear its head again, but this time with ISK.
Yeah, that's insane. It's not a fun time to be a Shia, by the way, in Pakistan right now. Like, if it's not ISK, it's even their own Pakistanis, their own. These might be. So you're saying these are fighters coming in from Afghanistan?
That's what I've seen reported.
But they're also getting, like, the Shias in Pakistan also are getting it, like, are also getting a lot of attacks from their own population as well, their own Sunnis as well. Recently, it's like,
yes.
So I'm it might be like we are Atheist Republic is going to have to do a lot of focus on defending Shia Muslims apparently in the foreseeable future.
Yes.
Like, we would have to do a lot of activism and bringing up attention to Shia. We get a lot of criticism, by the way, when we do that, because, like, we go after Shia Islam, especially when we're talking about Iran, right? But then all of a sudden in Pakistan, we are in a position of defending Shia Muslims against the oppression that they're facing from Sunni Islam, for some Sunni Muslims, not all of them, for many Sunni Muslims. And people think that's hypocrisy, or that these Shia Muslims don't deserve the protection that, or the awareness that we're trying to spread, right? Which is like, it's only hypocritical if you don't understand what we're trying to do here, right? We're against Shia Islam, but we protect but we're in favor of protecting Shia Muslims against oppression. In the same way that we're against Sunni Islam, but we're in favor of protecting Sunni Muslims, for example, in Iran, against the Shia oppression, right? But again, the mindset of, like, oh, these Shias deserve what they're getting because they are also the same people who would do this in Iran, or even the Shia Muslims who are in Pakistan, for example, what comes around comes around, what goes around comes around, or something like that. I don't know what the saying is, like, or karma, or stuff like that. Because these are the Shia, they say that these are the Shia Muslims in Pakistan who were oppressing Ahmadis, right? None of these arguments work on us, because most of the people who have a collectivist mindset, and they hold an entire population of people responsible for actions of some individuals, and want to attribute guilt by association, right? And just think that that an entire group of people are deserving of experiencing crimes like this and oppression like this just because other people within their own community have done something else. I feel like these people who think like this, I feel like sometimes I get the sense like their mind is broken. Like, I think, like, sometimes people who think about justice and fairness from a collectivist, they have a collectivist mindset. I feel like they can't even comprehend the way we look at things, with, like, us individualists, where we, like, look at every individual and what and what they are, what they deserve and what they don't deserve. When they hold an entire community responsible for an actions or the ideas that they have, or for the actions of some people in the community, sometimes I feel like we don't get through to them, because their brain just works on a collective, and they can't even fathom why we are, like, they can't even relate to how we think about things, us individualists, right? So it's like they're on a completely different wavelength. So even when we explain things to them, it's hard for them to even understand where we're coming from. I don't know.
No, I totally get what you mean. You put that really well, because that's something like I have a really hard time in the opposite direction. I can't understand how someone could have such a collectivist mentality.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like maybe we're just wired differently, because it seems like most people are. I think like humans, because they're social animals, most of us are wired to think collectively. Like maybe like this is
To
like
some
something
extent,
this-
100%.
yeah, maybe maybe it's not a bug in the system. Maybe it's a feature, because tribalism, you know, tribalism is was, at least in nature when we were uncivilized, helped in our survival, and it's potentially maybe we're the bug, right? We're the bug that we were the bug when we were uncivilized, and now we're the feature, right? But maybe we're just there's a reason why we're the black sheep. It's not just because we had anything to do with it. Maybe like we were just wired differently. Maybe it's somewhat natural, you know. But if that is the case, if some people are just incapable of not thinking collectively, then we have to come up with other solutions beyond just introducing people to better ways of thinking, right? Because maybe they can't be individualists. So what do we do? What sort of activism do we you know, try to come up with that addresses the fact that no amount of spreading awareness is going to work on these people? They just think collectively, right? So I don't know what the answer to that is, but it's something that keeps me up at night. Anyways,
Well, I think I think it is highly cultural how individualistic versus collectivistic we are. There is a part of us that is innately going to be collectivistic because we need it for our survival. But if you just look at different profiles statistically, empirical evidence of how different countries orient on a spectrum for these kinds of values like individualism versus collectivism, it's so heavily concentrated amongst different kind of cultures and different areas that it just seems highly social to me. So that means that there's a lot of potential for change.
Yeah. Okay. I hope so. All right. Let's go to the next news. Can we clap for this one?
No, because we don't like it.
Okay.
But we can clap. We can start clapping for the other ones.
Okay. Next
It's not
news.
as bad. It's not as bad as the last news.
Okay. All right. Next news.
Okay, next news. Another Indian state proposes anti-interfaith love jihad law. On March 4th, Anil Vij, the Haryana Home Minister, sponsored the Prevention of Unlawful Conversion of Religion bill. The proposed bill will, quote, prohibit, quote, religious conversions which are affected through misrepresentation, force, undue influence, coercion, and allurement. The bill also aims to stop conversions through, quote, any fraudulent means or by marriage or for marriage. The bill effectively criminalizes interfaith marriage and interfaith relationships, making Haryana the 11th Indian state planning to adopt this law. In Uttar Pradesh, since the law was enacted in December 2020, over 50 individuals have been arrested. Those convicted face up to 10-year jail sentences. Quote-unquote love jihad is a religious conspiracy theory which claims that Muslims across India are plotting to convert Hindu women through marriage. Rajveer Singh Khandan, an MP of the Indian National Congress, accused Vij and the BJP of advancing a hidden agenda in their anti-conversion bill and even tore up a copy of the bill in the state assembly. Many members expressed strong opposition to the proposed bill, calling it unconstitutional, and accused the BJP of creating a, quote, divide in society on the basis of religion.
Okay, so how would this work in effect? Like, walk us through. So, how many states have this law right now?
So at the moment in Haryana, this is just being proposed. It hasn't been put into law yet,
Okay.
but I believe it's on the books in 9 to 10 other states.
How many states are there in India?
I think there are 28 states and principalities. People correct me if
Wait.
I'm wrong.
How do you know this? I didn't expect you to know this. Actually, what the hell?
I had to create a survey of our Indian consulates. So I had to like look this up for
It's 28 states and 8 and 830. What? Okay, why do you know these things, Susanna? You know too much. This is unrealistic. This is like unbelievable. Okay. Oh, God damn it. Okay, so that's a huge portion. That's like more than a third of states of India. Like, I thought this is just an Uttar Pradesh thing. I thought this is like this level of crazy is only one state, and that's UP. But you're telling me that more than 1/3 of Indian states' laws. I was going to say more than 1/3 of India has gone crazy, but I realized that would be like a strike-worthy comment to make.
True.
I meant laws. Okay, I'm talking about more than 1/3 of Indian state law has gone insane. It's gone insane. Like, how is this a secular country? How is this a secular country when more than 1/3 of its states have a law that says if you're a Hindu and you're a Muslim, you cannot love each other. They literally call it love jihad. Like, they literally have come up with this conspiracy theory in India that think that people who are falling in love with each other, they're conspiring to take down India by being better at flirting with Hindu women than Hindu men, Muslim men, just going around and being just so charming. This is the Islamic, this is the conspiracy, okay, that Hindutva believes in India, okay? Muslim men are just so good at being charming to Hindu women, and they're using this superpower as a way to make the entirety of India Islamic, okay? Throughout the Islamic history, Islam has taken over either by sword or by trade, but they have failed with India. So with India, they have come up with a new plan, and they all have taken classes on how to talk to women and how to be charming and how to woo them, right? They have taken dating classes, right? And flirting classes or whatever, right? They have come up with the best pickup lines the Indian subcontinent has ever experienced, right?
Oh, dude.
Something that Hindu men can never achieve. And with this new power of them, they're going around India and they're just taking over Hindu women one by one, right? And all these Hindu women cannot resist these amazing Islamic charm, all right? And they're falling for them. And this is their plan. Apparently, this is their evil plan to Islamize the entirety of the Indian subcontinent. And they call it love jihad, and they are saving the Indian subcontinent from this takeover by Islam by making this illegal, right? This is like not a joke. This is like the reality of how laws are working right now in India, as the so-called secular, the greatest secular country in the world. Like, this is how joke your country has become. Like, this is how pathetic. This is the biggest joke, that your country's laws are a joke. It's just something for the rest of the world to point out and laugh. And these are the same people who are like, oh, we're better than the Western world. Are you? You're a laughingstock. You're pathetic. These are your laws. These are the laws of your country. Your country has turned into a joke.
Man, when you were describing your rendition of the love jihad conspiracy theory, I was cracking up because I was envisioning a bunch of Muslim men like sitting in the seminar of a pickup artist, like their training classes. And then
literally what they think.
The way you were describing it, I was like, if we were in a different political climate, this has the makings of a hilarious comedic movie.
By the way, I hope people don't think like, I know this is funny, but this is literally what they think. Like, I want you guys watch some documentaries from India. Like, this is literally the guys, the Hindutva, okay? They have camps for men to come train to be able to detect Hindu women that might be falling for these pickup artists. They're training people to get violent whenever, like, they're creating their own besiege. They're like, this is like their own is like version of Islamic Sharia, the morality police. People who are not part of like the government, people who are not the police, individual vigilantes. These young boys who teenagers who are so angry about like, why is this beautiful Hindu woman who I used to think about and jack off at night, why is he falling off for Abdul? Why is he falling for Abdul? Like, they're so angry, right? And now they're being trained in camps to go harass these girls and beat up the Muslim boys. They love it. They're so angry. They're pissed. They're like, they're you know, they're sexually like very, very like, I don't know what frustrated. The sexual frustration has, and they want to be able to express that in an angry way. And they have huge Hindutva camps where they show them how to detect the girls. Like, imagine being a girl in this environment, like, and you have all these like Hindutva watching your act. Like in Islam, you know how we have the concept of ghaira, when your father and your brother and your husband is like always watching you to make sure you're like acting the right way, right? In India, they're making it the business of every random boy to be able to come like with a stick or whatever and beat up like the guy that you're interested in and just ask you questions and investigate you, even though they're not the goddamn police. And when the police shows up, they support the Hindutva guy. Like, this is what happens. They call it like you would think the girls would call the police, right? Because like, these men are like abusing me. Okay, they're investigating me. They have holding hostage and they're asking me who I've been with. You would think the girl would call the police, but you know who calls the police? It's the Hindutva who calls the police. They're like, this girl has been misbehaving. She's been talking to Abdul. Come arrest her, and the police arrest her. They arrest her, not the men who are who have no business abusing and harassing the girl. They arrest the girl. They're like, oh yeah, why have you been
Remember
talking to Abdul?
that woman who was taken to jail and separated from her husband because she converted to Islam to marry her husband before this law came into effect? And the gang made her come out. You covered this on the show. The gang made her come out and show them like her marriage papers, and they're just a group of random civilians. They have like, no authority to be demanding this of her. And then she had a miscarriage in prison because of like the treatment she faced.
Wait, so these people, they were investigating this poor pregnant Hindu woman who married a Muslim man, and she was showing her.
She was a Muslim man.
Sorry, Muslim man, but she was showing her marriage papers to say like, look, I married him before your goddamn law came into power, right? Like she was like, I married him willingly. He didn't force me. I love him. I have a baby with him, right? Look, my papers show that I married him before your law came into, and they weren't having it. They were like, show us your papers. And they, like, who are you to want to see her papers? And they called the police on her, on the pregnant woman, and she got arrested, and she had a miscarriage in prison. And she didn't even break this stupid law because she had married that poor man when this law wasn't even in force. Like, what? Like, even based on your goddamn stupid, barbaric, ridiculous laws, she didn't do anything illegal because it predates your law. But she had to pay the price for it with her own baby.
I will never get over the fact that these love jihad laws or any forced conversion laws, because sometimes it's not entirely about this whole marriage aspect. Sometimes it's literally just trying to criminalize conversion in general. And it kind of varies on the state. But I will never get over the fact that they mandate that you go register your conversion with a magistrate. And then you have to wait a period of 10 days.
And it has to be publicly available for the whole. This is an intimidation, Susanna. This is an intimidation tactic. So if you want to marry a Muslim man, you have to go through a conversion or whatever the requirements are, right? But they make you register it, and that information and your name will become open to the public. That's so that these mob could go, and so if the police cannot go intimidate you, this is them trying for you not to go through all of this, because you know that all of a sudden your name and address and everything is now available to all these people that want to come and investigate you. This is just to scare you out of it. This is a tactic. This registration and making your name public is just a tactic to scare you out of it.
It's so crazy. Even if it wasn't public, what role does the government have in your private matter of faith? On what grounds? On what authority? Why is this allowed? Why? I can never get over that aspect. It's such an severe abuse of authority or use of authoritative power. It makes me crazy. And the way that these people are proposing these bills, it's no care for that at all.
Their argument is that these girls are immature and they don't know what they're doing. That's what their argument is.
Yes, but this is I mean, I understand too, these vulnerable people that they're trying to, protect them. That they pretend to be protecting, right? But this covers all citizens. This covers all matters. It's not just about this supposedly victimized group.
By the way, they make none of these arguments with the other way around. If a Muslim girl, all of a sudden falls in love with a Hindu man, none of that immaturity and protection is valid, because this is a Muslim girl who should be Hindu, and she's coming back home. They're literally just calling it coming back home, because if she's from the subcontinent, she doesn't understand that Islam is not her real religion, that she should based on her heritage, based on her ethnicity, and based on this being her land. Not just Muslims in India, but also Muslims in Pakistan. They all should be Hindu. And when a Muslim girl all of a sudden marries a Hindu man, they celebrate this. None of that protection is all of a sudden required, because she's just coming back to where she belongs. And this is literally treating women like property. When Muslim men marry a Hindu woman, they see that as stealing, right? And when a Muslim woman marries a Hindu man, they're calling that bringing somebody back home, right? Guys, you have no idea how many weddings these people crash and just attack weddings, because apparently they know better than the bride and groom. But go on.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's just so many things about this. In some states, the law specifically makes exceptions for when when you're converting to Hinduism. It's just so blatant. In this case, so part of the debate in the state assembly about this bill was the fact that the opposition is contending that this is obviously a politically motivated agenda with the intention of stigmatizing, harassing, and abusing minority communities, particularly Muslims. But in this case of this law in Haryana, they're saying, well, religion isn't mentioned in the language of this bill once, one particular religion or another. This is across the board. This, shouldn't be allowed to continue. And it's so, what's so problematic about these laws is that the people who are accused of these things, I don't know what the standard of law is in India, because in some countries it's different, but in America it is innocent until proven guilty. But and the burden of proof is on the prosecution, right? But in these cases of love jihad, it really becomes you're guilty until proven innocent, and the burden of proof is on you to prove that you weren't doing this. And it also is just like blatantly so unconstitutional, but unfortunately, it is a lot easier to put these laws into effect versus take years in
To challenge them.
India's notoriously overburdened legal system to overturn this.
Yeah. I have a solution.
Oh boy.
My solution, here's my suggestion to Hindutva, okay? I'm putting it out there for free. Instead of all this nonsense, this is what you do. You fight love jihad with Dharma jihad. Okay? No, love Dharma? No, Dharma jihad is better. Dharma jihad. Let's call it Dharma jihad. Okay? All right? And you just put up, instead of camps that you're training all these Hindutva young teenage boys on going in and abusing girls and just like beating people up or investigating and minding, getting involved in other people's business, right? You train them on how to talk to women, okay? And how to be better at dating, at, how to be not so cringy, okay? You tell them to stop asking for bobs and vagines, right? And even if they want to start asking for bobs and vagines, you maybe ask them how to politely ask for bobs and vagines. Maybe like if you want bobs and vagines, that's not the first message you send a girl, right? Maybe you wait maybe you wait like a couple of days until you build the report, and then after a while you ask for bobs and vagines, right? So maybe classes like that. Like just training like that, you know what I mean? So I think that would be like just call it Dharma jihad, right? I don't know if they would call it jihad because they're very sensitive about the word jihad. Okay, just maybe call it love Dharma. Yeah, love Dharma. Okay, that would be better. But
just helping the incels of India get some social skills with women, and you're saying that will completely reverse their chances of dating and realize that they have something to offer too.
And maybe just to show some good faith with interfaith, right? You could invite some of these Muslims who you claim to be so good at picking up your girl, and maybe they could put on some seminars and share some of your secrets, right? Maybe you could
and promote interfaith unity.
Interfaith unity, like tell them like, how are you picking up these Hindu girls left and right? Like, show us your secrets, right? Like maybe if you're nice to them, maybe they will share your secrets with you, and then like you will have some luck with your woman. Yeah.
I like this idea.
Yeah, you like it? I think that.
Oh my god! Yeah. Wait, there was some pretty hilarious comments in the chat. Oh, Forever Stormy is making a really good point when you were talking about how you're blown away by how almost like a third of countries have these sorts of laws, are either proposed or on the books. And you're saying, oh my gosh, that's 1/3. But Stormy's making an important point that population-wise, it's way more than 1/3. So it's it's not just 1/3. It's by 1/3 by number, but not 1/3 by the
population.
The population that's actually being impacted by this.
Yeah.
States like the UP are the most populated, with populations as large as many countries combined.
That's a very good point. Thank you for making that point. Interesting.
Moss Wood is saying, Susie, watch out for the jihadi pickup artists. And after Moss said this, Imran came in and said, baby, did you fall from heaven? Because you remind me of Iblis.
See, this is how they're picking.
Imran, you need to teach some classes. So
Susanna, does that work?
You were talking because this made me laugh so hard.
See, it's working. If you could make a woman laugh, that's already like, yeah.
This I actually feel like this would have worked on me. This made me laugh so hard.
Oh my god.
And Forever Stormy is making another very good point, saying, mind you, they want to control women's choice in selecting any guy, not just a Muslim guy. These guys are believers of arranged marriage where the family decides. Yes, and that's one thing about this that I really appreciate when I see activists talk about, because in terms of the impact of this law, this is obviously going to affect, both men and women. But in terms of who this is meant to target and who this will be weaponized against, it will primarily be women who wish to marry outside of, their family's wishes or against their family's wishes. And so their freedom of choice is being greatly restricted because now there are legal and criminal consequences regarding these kinds of things. All for love. Imagine you just love someone and the stakes against you are this. And this law will be used to harass couples with the force of the law behind them because they don't do as their family says. Because anyone can kind of file these cases against people alleging forced conversion. And now the authorities are obligated to launch a special investigation into your private affairs, your private life. It's wild. I need to talk to my lawyer friend about if any cases have already come forward that are presented as suits or lined up to repeal this kind of thing, because it is badly needed to go up the court system as fast as possible.
Yeah, I should always have the "Are we the baddies" meme ready whenever these people whenever we want to remind them that you guys stopping people from loving each other. Do you not wake up in the morning and what am I doing? I'm actively going out in the streets and looking for people who claim to be in love with each other and want to be with each other, and I'm trying to separate them. Do you not at that point think maybe I'm on the wrong side of this, right? Do you not think to yourself I'm literally fighting love? I'm literally fighting love. How do you not maybe doubt just a tiny bit when you're anti-love that you might be on the evil side of this, that you might be on the wrong side of all of this?
We have another Muslim pickup line. Mustafa is saying, I told the girl whose name is Jannah, your name means heaven. Very appropriate because I want to be in you.
But really that worked? I didn't like that.
It did. I'm not saying it. He said this. And
Okay,
he didn't say if it worked.
I thought it was cringe, but okay. All right, sure. It's making Susanna laugh. I didn't think this would work, but if you make somebody laugh, that's already.
It's so funny.
Is it? Okay, sure. Okay. All right. Oh wait, I have mail. I'll be right back. You keep reading the comments while I go.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people in the live chat are saying that they want this to be a show. Mustafa is calling for a Bollywood movie. I think, like I said, right now is not the correct political climate at all. But there's a potential for something pretty humorous there. Mustafa is saying that he was already in bed with her when he used that line. So it sounds like it worked. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, people in the live chat. Oh my God. Harish is saying that women will be protected from blackmail with these kinds of laws. How? How? If it's really about blackmail, write a law that actually is related to that, not infringing upon people's civil liberties in this way. Rajesh is saying, when a Maulavi was asked on Love Jihad, for those who don't know, a Maulavi is, or I can never pronounce it right, is like an Islamic scholar or leader, was asked about Love Jihad. He said, love is against Islam. All marriages should be arranged and interfaith should be banned. Muslims actually agreed to not be having interfaith. He probably didn't literally say love is against Islam, right? Like, that doesn't sound like, I think you mean like free love or like love marriages.
I actually heard people being like, love is like a romantic concept that was like, even Daniel Hayraju said that. Like, these are just romantic Western concepts. You marry, like, you don't need to marry the person you love. Like, these are things your family just arranges and stuff. This idea that you need to be in love with somebody and this whole romantic stuff that you have is like just like something that was invented in the romantic era in Europe, like, I don't know, by Shakespeare and stuff like that. And it was not a thing throughout history. It's just like they think that it's just recent history, and it's not the most ideal way of going about matching people to each other. Like, they think like it's not just about you two, you selfish pieces of crap. Like, you think about, oh, like, I love him or I love her. Like, this is about your family. This is about like a whole community deciding on how to come together. And it's like, it's, like, who cares about your own personal feelings, you selfish, individual, right? so like, yeah.
Wild.
So.
Oh, this is like the final point. I thought this was good. Bengali Hindu is saying they train women with arm training to save themselves from Muslim guys, as if Hindu men will never attack a Hindu woman. Yeah, it is pretty hypocritical in a lot of ways. And I've watched a lot of those videos. They're saying that, we've seen these footages or like news reports on these anti-love jihad like campaigns that they go on, and where they go teach women about how to like protect themselves from Muslim men.
I support that.
This person is saying as if it's like Hindu men never attack Hindu women.
Yeah, but that will protect them from both.
It's not like real self-defense. It's like if he talks to you a certain way, like if he like says, by like stereotyping and profiling.
Oh, so it's not like physical self-defense. It's like, this is how you know he's a Muslim. Kind of.
It was a bit lacking on the self-defense, in my opinion.
Okay. This is how you detect Islam. So this is how you detect Islam in the boy that you're talking to, because they claim like they wouldn't tell you right away, and eventually, so the claims I've seen is that, because they're all part of the same ethnicity. It's not like you could tell. There a lot of the boys are wearing the same thing, whether they're Hindu or Muslim, right? So the idea is that they first brainwash you and make you fall in love with them, and then they will reveal that they're Muslim. Okay, so after you already fall in love with them and it's too late, right? So they're trying to equip the girls by saying like, you have to figure out where this guy is a jihadi ahead of time, right? I love jihadi ahead of time before you fall for him, and here are the telltale signs, right?
Yes, like is calling it Abrahamic radar.
Exactly. Yes, guys. A lot of these Hindus, but they're very sensitive, not just with Islam, but all things Abrahamic, right? Whether Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, they think like this. They look at their history and they're like, we haven't had a good experience with Abrahamic people showing up at our land. Like, it was first the Islamic takeover, and they came and raped and pillaged, right? And then after they were done with Mother India, after they raped Mother India, and they went, then the British came and they started, doing their thing. So they're like, we're shutting the doors to all things Abrahamic. Like, we're like cleansing this land from Abrahamic, all things Abrahamic, because based on our history, Abrahamics seem to wanting to just, take and destroy Mother India. So that's what they That's what
Rudresh is saying not Judaism. Actually, that's true. India is known for being one of the most tolerant places for Jewish people, which I think is very interesting.
It's not. It's because they love Israel. You're right. Actually, I shouldn't have said Jews. And you know why they love Israel?
Well, it's not always that. Like historically, this has been true.
Okay, but more recently, there's been love. There's this like love relationship with Israel between India. Okay, because Israel is going the ethno route, right? And also they see also Israel as a country that is standing up to, I don't know, Islamic takeover of their land, right? So they're like, yes, we agree. And also
we
like
see each other.
We want some of that. And they also see how Judaism is becoming more of a is moving in Israel. Judaism is going beyond just culture, religion, and ethnicity is becoming defined as nationality as well. Like, so it's mostly like them noticing the right-leaning people in Israel who are interested in an ethno state and want to define Judaism as part of the identity of the country. And they're like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we want to do with Hinduism, right? So they relate. They're like, we relate, you know, a lot. So that's what's. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mustafa's making the point that it also is partially because Jews don't really evangelicize.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be that as well. You guys.
Wait, no, this is the last thing. Mustafa gave us another Muslim pickup line saying, "Are you from medieval Arabia? Because you're making me crazy."
Susanna loves these.
I do. Guys, please send me all your Islamic pickup lines. I will be accepting submissions at my Instagram.
Okay. Should we clap for the next news?
Okay, we're gonna clap for the next news because I did a lot of interesting research on this. I'm excited to talk about it.
Mustafa saying, "I'm here all week." Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go to next news.
Next news. Supreme Court rules in favor of FBI in case of spying on Muslims. From 2006 to 2007, in the wake of the September 11 attacks, the FBI's Los Angeles division hired an informant who claimed to want to convert to Islam with a hidden intention of infiltrating several mosques in Orange County, California. In 2019, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of 3 Muslim plaintiffs who accused the FBI of targeting them for surveillance on the basis of their religion. Yasser Fazaga, Ali Uddin Malik, and Yasser Abdel Rahim claimed that the FBI's spying had violated their constitutional rights as protected under the First and Fourth Amendments. Recently, on March 4th, the Supreme Court overturned a ruling from an appellate court in favor of siding with the FBI. The Supreme Court unanimously ruled that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA for short, had lesser precedent over the state secrets privilege. State secrets privilege allows the federal government to block the release of any information in a lawsuit if its release can lead to a breach of national security. The American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, who represented the plaintiffs, denounced the Supreme Court's ruling, calling it, quote, a dangerous sign for religious freedom and government accountability. The ACLU plans to submit an appeal for further litigation.
Wait, so the Supreme Court is not ruling in favor of spying on Muslims. The Supreme Court is ruling in favor of not releasing these state secrets, right?
Right? So they are using...
We should just clip that part out. Okay.
Went through a roller
Somebody
coaster
clip
there.
that out. Okay. Okay, go on.
The FBI is using in their defense. So basically, I can get into the backstory, but a bunch of people realized that this informant was spying on them. And they are trying to sue the FBI. Stop laughing at me. He's trying to sue the FBI for their illegal surveillance in violation of their constitutional rights. And what they're pulling is they're saying, oh, you can't go through with this lawsuit because it will violate, like, you know, it will have to release information that's too, you know, classified. This could threaten security. So we're pulling state secrets and saying, just trust us. This was legitimate, you know. So they're blocking any sort of accountability for what they did with these informants, which was crazy, by the way. Like, we need to play the video that I added, that I sent you, because
okay, but even if you're against this, it's important to know that the Supreme Court, you know, actually, by the way, which I'm against as well, depending on whether the details are correct or not. But the Supreme Court is not setting a precedent where this is okay to just spy on Muslims. Okay, this is like like it's important to realize that technically they're okaying not releasing the secret. Because if they were like, oh yeah, the Supreme Court, like, oh yeah, we approve on you being able to spy on people based on their religion, that would be a lot like a bigger news than, like, that would be setting a precedent that makes this like okay, which technically that's not the route that they're going. So that's I just wanted to point that out.
Yes, but like, I don't know. I think you're downplaying the fact that they're allowing for there to be zero government accountability. Like, they're allowing the cover up to continue.
Well, okay, that's important. Okay, but I think it would be just much bigger deal if the Supreme Court just okayed targeting people based on their religion. That would be even a bigger deal.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Okay. Okay, so I'm not saying I'm okay. I am in favor of government accountability. I don't know, like, maybe our opinions would change if we know exactly what's happening in the background, right? Like, maybe, you know, maybe if we knew exactly what secrets would be released because of this, we would be like, holy crap, like, that would like devastate a whole bunch of stuff that we don't know. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that we don't know. Based on the limited information that we have, I'm against this and I'm in favor of government accountability, right? So, but again, our opinions are not 100% here. I know that there might be things that I don't know that if I knew, my opinions would change on this. Okay. Also, I want to, the cover is really good. It's we have to give a bonus to whoever came up with this cover. It's pretty cool. Even though this is not what most American Muslims look like. Okay. This is, you know, Muslims in America don't go around looking like this. Most of them.
It's hard to find, you know, diverse and accurate copyright-free images. I know
that. Even though that is the case, this image captures most of what this headline is like. This is pretty good. Like, you know,
the guy in the background, like, I got the camera.
I got him. He's reading the Quran. I got him.
It really is like that, though. Like,
oh no, like.
Okay, so this news researching for this caused me to go down a wormhole today, researching these programs and these incidents of the government entrapping like Muslims with terrorism charges through these informant programs. It's so crazy. Like, it's one of those things where, as an American, you kind of like have this vague knowledge that that's probably going on, or like you heard that it did happen maybe once before. But then I actually went in, I had the time to go look into the whole situation in general or in more depth. And I was shocked. The way that the FBI conducts a lot of these this whole case in particular with these people, like, I want to dig into it because everything about it, I feel like it is best described by the old World War II acronym FUBAR, which means effed up beyond all recognition. Like, it's such a shit show from top to bottom, this particular case. Can we play that video that I showed or I gave you?
Yes. This one?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a video I found today from 2009. Because this whole issue has been going on for like a long time. This is just the most recent aspect of this case. So this is more information from back in 2009.
Okay.
This man went to mosques claiming to be a convert to Islam.
And my cover was that I'm a French and Syrian individual who is seeking to embrace my Islamic roots.
But in truth, Craig Monte says he was working as an undercover spy for the FBI.
What they told me was that I would be trained as a Muslim to...
I want this job.
No, you don't.
Okay, okay.
infiltrate mosques.
He's an ex-convict who claims over the course of many months, he secretly recorded conversations with hundreds of Muslims, including in more than 10 different mosques in the Los Angeles area.
And then he all of a sudden jumped into like, I can get us weapons to go do something in some building in LA or something like that.
Curdy and others worked out at this Irvine, California gym where Monte admitted recording conversations with Muslims as they exercised. These Arab Americans say his actions while working for the FBI amounted to entrapment and violated their constitutional rights.
He was telling people, like, I have a sheikh in Afghanistan that I know. I was hearing that, and I was hearing him saying stuff like, I have access to different things. That, I can help you out plan something if you need to plan something. Those were the types of things that I was hearing.
Troubled by Monte's words, this man, Ahmadullah Niazi, reported him to the FBI. Soon after that, the FBI arrested Niazi for a charge that boiled down to lying on his U.S. passport application.
What?
Monte's role as
How? Wait, what? Explain.
Go back and play that again. So this, let me break it down for you guys. This guy, the informant, who is trying to, bring up little hints so that people would start talking about jihad and wanting to wage jihad on infidels with him. So he drops little hints, right? He gets so bad and starts freaking out congregants so much that they try to put restraining orders against him, and they go to the FBI to report on him. These Muslims go to the FBI because they're like, there's this guy that's freaking us out in our community with the violent way that he's talking. I think he might hurt someone. That person is the FBI informant. When this guy went to the FBI to report this guy because of his terroristic talking points, and they're like, the authorities need to know about this guy. This is dangerous. They go and start investigating this guy's history, and they start bringing up things against him about his immigration history.
But he's a good guy. He's reporting jihadis. So they're going after the person who's doing the good thing and reporting. Shouldn't you hire him? Hey, you seem to be a Muslim. You don't even need to hire a fake Muslim. This guy is a real Muslim who's anti-jihadi inside the same mosque that you're. So you should, instead of fighting him, you should be sending him a job application. I mean, you shouldn't be, because you have no business spying on people like that. But even in your own evil, twisted ways, he's on your side. Wouldn't you want to encourage his behavior? But anyways.
No, they're just, all they care about is protecting their informant and their asset. And this guy who's the informant is a piece of work. He was previously convicted and served time in prison for fraud. And this is the guy the FBI approaches to become an informant. And his whole cover was that he was a
person you're against
bodybuilder.
is better than your informant. Wait, what? Go on.
One of the people that he was sent to profile was an imam in the Southern California Muslim community, which is apparently one of the largest in the United States. This imam was like encouraged his community to go talk to the FBI, like to trust the authorities, to really rely on them to protect our communities. Like he promoted that, and he wanted to build that trust so people could have somewhere to go if they had worries, right? And then there was a piece that came out. There was started to be reporting on these surveillance programs, and in a conversation that an FBI, someone associated with the FBI came to give to this meeting of Islamic community members, this imam gets up and just like asks him a question and is like, you're saying that we should just be friends, that there's nothing to worry about, nothing of this ever happened, blah, blah, blah. But there's this reporting that this other person was saying this, and I can't get over this contention and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, because, and then the FBI goes, he goes, are you calling me a liar? He's like, I'm not calling you a liar. I just don't know what to make of these different things I'm hearing, and I'm hearing something totally different from you. And then that guy became one of the people who was targeted by this informant, and now he's one of the plaintiffs in this case.
Oh my God. Just because he was like questioning the FBI agent?
The informant, that's what he says. Although I don't know how much to trust this guy.
Yeah, okay. But yeah,
there's footage of that whole interaction with the imam and
this backfires because this makes the community that you want the Muslim Americans to think like the authorities are there to protect them, and you want to create a bond between all sorts of American communities and the agents, so that they come and they feel like they can trust you and come to you. By creating this atmosphere that is the agents, against the community, then you're going to isolate them. They're going to feel like, why would we come to you? You're against all of us. You're not just against the jihadis. You're against us as a whole. So you're just decreasing the number of self-reports that you would be getting, because they feel like you're not an agency there to protect them. It's obviously like not in, yeah. But again, I think like the whole point is a lot of these agencies, they're mostly focused on making themselves relevant, and justifying higher budgets.
Yes, that's where I was going.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's no problem, if there's less of a problem, then you're less needed, you're less relevant, right? And if you rely on the community, if the community is not threatened by you and comes to you, then your agents are also less needed because the community is just self-reporting. So maybe like it would be within the best interest of your department to create some form of hostility to make yourself more relevant,
It's so wild. So I watched a documentary today by Al Jazeera about these informant programs. And granted, this is Al Jazeera and they have their own agenda and bias. So there might be other sides to these stories that they were presenting than, what I saw. But so it covers a lot of these incidents in different communities. And in one of them, there were guys who were prosecuted and spent time in prison for, connections to quote unquote Al-Qaeda. Their only connection to Al-Qaeda was the contact that they had with the FBI informant who claimed to be Al-Qaeda. There was no real connection with them at all. It's your own informant who claims to be the one with the connection, and they have a connection to this informant. There were so many aspects to it. It was so crazy. And the documentary covers a lot of this case as well, where the guy who was this informant was such a piece of work. He was like, the FBI claims that I was the best informant alive. And then shows him putting on a skull cap and a red and white keffiyeh and like these wraparound black shades. And I was like, what am I watching? Like, you look so out of place. The way, like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, it was like how a kid would dress up as a Muslim. Like, it didn't make any sense. So you look bizarre.
Okay, should we watch the rest of the clip?
Yeah, there was some other stuff in this clip that I thought was good.
Monte's words, this man, Ahmadullah Niazi, reported him to the FBI. Soon after that, the FBI arrested Niazi for a charge that boiled down to lying on his U.S. passport application. At Niazi's bail hearing, Monte's role as an FBI confidential informant was revealed. Monte claims he no longer works for them.
The FBI keeps claiming that they treat American Muslims as partners. We cannot be partners and suspects at the same time. You cannot call us partners.
Is that an Atheist Republic logo on his shirt?
Okay, I didn't notice that, but it does look it does look exactly like it.
Guys, this is our informant. Maybe hide your pin. Like, look at this. This is guys. This is so much like an Atheist Republic logo.
It does.
Holy crap! How could it be anything else? Look, you see the circle and the lion and the horse, and the text right under it. I swear this cannot be anything other than the Atheist Republic logo. Am I seeing things? Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, you're not wrong, but also this was 2009, so it's impossible.
Why is that impossible? We were around in 2009.
Did you have the logo in 2009? The logo wasn't trademarked that early.
Well, it wasn't trademarked, but we had the logo. We trademarked it later. Guys, this guy, like, okay, he's an secret ex-Muslim. Guys, like, you guys are not seeing this? Like, okay, so let me see the live chat. Yeah, Secretary is like, holy shit, it's totally lost. Guys, it can't be anything else. I'm swearing, like, this is like our logo. God damn. So this was...
And send informants or provocateurs into the mosque on a fishing expedition trying to entrap people.
We made several...
Yeah, people are saying, if you where you guys had an original logo. Yeah, this is our logo, yeah.
Request for an interview with the FBI field office here in Los Angeles, wanting to give them an opportunity to respond to these allegations. But they said they do not do interviews related to current investigations, and they don't comment about confidential informants. So they declined our request for an interview.
As far as interrogation, as citizens...
Groups like the American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, are taking matters into their own hands, holding workshops inside LA area mosques to teach Americans...
This is a Shia imam here.
Yeah.
Their constitutional rights.
And he's a Syed.
Because some are concerned, based on...
Wait, this is entirely a Shia place. You know how I know? This is...
All rights.
Okay, I thought this is like a Islamic area where they accept everybody, even Shias. But then I realized, no, this is like entirely a Shia place because of, look at the background decoration. Allah, Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan, and Hussein. So this is a Shia gathering.
What was the purpose of your... Because some are concerned.
So maybe the reason why they're infiltrating in this is because they're expecting some Iranian, the Islamic Republic of Iran influence, because a lot of these Shia, because a lot of these Shia places are actually ways for the Iranian government to use them as a way to get into the American community, right? So maybe that's why they're investigating this. So I don't know.
Based on the FBI's silence to Monte's claims, they are being monitored in their places of worship.
Just to be a little bit more charitable to the FBI, what are they supposed to do? Like, if we want to be somewhat charitable, okay, like, let's just steelman them, okay? If the Iranian government is using these Shia centers, for example, as a way to infiltrate within the American community, okay? What would you do if you were the FBI? Like, how would you, if you want to figure this out?
Here's the thing. I am not against surveillance if there is, like, probable cause or proof or probable, like, reasons or to suspect someone is conducting or planning to conduct a crime. Like, a lot of these surveillance programs, they would go target specific Muslim student groups who, like, and literally follow them on their way to go, like, whitewater rafting. Like,
Right.
also just talk about the waste of government resources. It's crazy. Like, so in a lot of these cases, because I was also looking into how this goes down on the East Coast, and there's this huge issues in New York City and New Jersey, and the surveillance or profiling just seems so blatant because everyone affected by these things are saying, what is the reason? What is the probable cause that would make you surveil me? And the government instead says, state secrets, we can't talk about that. But trust us, there are reasons, but, and, you know, that we should or are legally allowed to, you know, surveil people in this way. But we just can't tell you what those reasons are. So we're just going to like violate your constitutional rights in the meanwhile.
This is why we wish like if there was a way that they could be held accountable, because technically the surveillance, I think the surveillance should be allowed, okay? Because these places are used by, even if most of the people there are good, they are used as a way for, you know, by governments that have ill intentions, right? The problem that we have is like the framing of the good people, like this, like certain tactics that they're using. I think it's bad. Like, I don't know, like going after that one guy that was like seems to be like a good guy just because like finding a technical, you know, just, or like harassing the people who are questioning you, right? Or entrapment that's what it's called, right? Entrapment. When you're like, hey, do you guys want to do jihad? How about we do some jihad, right? Like, is that, and they like, you're an FBI agent and you're just you're advertising, you know, you're promoting crimes, and then if they say yes to you, well, technically you were the person who was promoting it, right? Isn't that called, what is that? I don't know how the laws.
Yeah, it's entrapment.
Entrapment, yeah. So that's called entrapment. Actually, I think we should have a meme for that, right? We should have like this meme, right? And we should
that really just is the feds. I too want to wage jihad on the infidels.
Yeah, like, no, it should be like anyone to do
fellow
some jihad.
mujahideen.
Yeah, like that. Okay, so that's the meme for it. But yeah, those practices entrapment should be, should be fought against. These retaliatory techniques should be fought against. But I don't know if we want to completely go out and dismiss the surveillance as a whole. Like, I think maybe they're using some some bad tactics, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't have surveillance at all.
Well, no, I don't think that mosques should be surveilled unless they have probable reason to suspect that there is some serious activity going on. So I'm not dismissing anything.
Yeah, but maybe they do have, and they don't know which mosques. Maybe they know that the Islamic Republic of Iran is using Shia centers for their own agenda, and now they're in the process of figuring out which ones. So what do?
They look for better evidence before bugging people to send them in. That violates people's rights of privacy, like private citizens. Susanna, that's crazy.
That's how they. Okay, so you're saying they look for better evidence, but that's the point. They're trying to find the evidence. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, FBI, when they find evidence, they have to surveil people. They have to do some surveillance on people to find that evidence. Where else? Like, do you think, like, how could they ignore people without looking when they're looking for evidence?
Trust me, the FBI can do a lot of steps before they physically send someone into a building.
Okay, but all of that involve, like, information is held by people. So if they want to get the evidence, which includes that information, they would have to do surveillance on some people. I mean, that's the entire point of the FBI. So I'm just trying to think about it.
I don't really understand what you're advocating for. Like,
I'm just saying that maybe
go surveil every mosque until we find something.
Well, I mean, if the information
we're just looking for the evidence.
I mean, if you have reason to believe that certain mosques are being used by other governments to do some shady stuff, then what would you suggest? How would they go about finding where this is happening? I just think like their tactics was wrong, but I don't
You
want to
look like
completely dismiss.
look at the trail of money first.
Okay, but how do they like? So, like the tactics that they use is, if you look at the trail of money, these are individuals privately using their money for like. At first, what the way it works is that you're spending your money on things that are completely legitimate, right? Things that are just expression of religious values, right? You do fundraising for your ashura, for your prayers, and then you just build up the organizations. And tracing the money would also be surveillance on private individuals, because that would be surveillance of individuals' private money, because if you do surveillance of that, you're advocating for exactly what you seem to be against. Because if you do trace the money, you see that, okay, this is just individual people's liberty to express this religious freedom. That's how it starts, right? You build the base by spending all this money on things that are nothing other than religious practices. So if you want to trace that, you're basically surveilling on people's private individual expression of their, transactions and stuff like that.
Yes, I mean, I also think that
transactions
that's, like,
are an expression. Yeah, transactions are an expression of, your
Sure.
free expression. Yeah, go on.
I mean, I understand that's a form of surveillance, obviously. I just feel like that's a lot different than physically sending someone in to just listen to the conversations of random individuals and then just like entrap them because you won't shut the fuck up about jihad. Like, it's so, and the whole case of this guy in particular is such a mess. Like, everyone found him out, his cover got blown. He not a single case that he was involved in resulted in a conviction. In fact, the FBI kicked him out, basically turned on him. Then he turned on the FBI. He's trying to sue the FBI, and then he joined the defense of the one guy whose his surveillance was the one guy that they were trying to prosecute. And then he jumped on that guy's defense. And so this didn't result in a single conviction. Like, nothing about this is worth taxpayer money.
Yeah, so but that's what I'm agreeing with. I'm saying these specific instances we can condemn and be like, this is wrong, but I just think we shouldn't throw out the baby out with the bathwater and just be like, we're completely against surveillance. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how a lot of these attacks. I mean, if you look at every single terrorist attack that was stopped before it happened, it was because of surveillance like this.
Yes.
Right. So we don't want to throw out the entire surveillance. Like, please keep surveilling. Is that the verb for it? And keeping us I think we need that to keep us safe.
No, but with these informant, I can't remember the numbers, but with these informant programs, the number of people that it actually catches in the results and convictions is a small minority.
Yeah, but it's worth it. Because those small instances where they stop it, it was going to be an attack.
I don't know. I'm really downplaying the fact of like how overreaching these programs are.
Yeah, so we could we want to specifically, if we want to condemn each one of them, I think we should condemn them on an individual basis and be like, this was the wrong practice. I don't want to Sorry, I just
bless you.
I don't want to Thank you. I don't want to condemn the entire thing. I am for some surveillance. Anyways, I think we agree. Yeah. So Ridrish is saying surveillance is fine, but it has to be constitutional. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. Okay, so I mean, if the surveillance is we're just surveilling these people just because they're Muslim, if it's just because they're Muslim and nothing else, then that would be unconstitutional. But if
that's basically what happened here.
Okay, but
in many other cases,
we don't know because the data didn't come out, so we don't know. But if the reason is we have reason to believe that in the mosques that have this faith, we have this information to believe that somebody is trying to do something, and that's why we have to do surveillance on these mosques, then you're not targeting them specifically because of of them being Muslim. You're targeting them because of the information you have. If that is the reason, that would not be unconstitutional, in my opinion. I could be wrong because I'm not a constitutional lawyer. Anyways, can we, Susanna? But I like how aggressive you are when wanting to limit the government's reach. Okay, so like I can see like the fire in your eyes right now.
I'm so pissed at you. I'm like, why are you being such a simp for the feds? Like, ew. Like,
well, because they keep us alive sometimes. Okay, so that's why I simp for the feds, because
they do sometimes keep us alive, but god damn.
All right, so can I clap for the next
everything I learned today? I was like, I am not impressed, guys. This is bad. Like, you did a bad job. You did we're already 2 hours in and we've only done half the news.
Okay, you gave us examples that made it. Yeah, it was bad. Okay, let's go through the rest of the news like really like this. Okay. Next news.
So, next news. Gay author book signing event at school banned by Catholic Church. Recently, the Catholic Church in the United Kingdom has banned a book signing event at a London school because of the sexuality of the acclaimed author Simon James Green. The cancellation was announced in a letter dated March 3rd by Simon Hughes, the Director of Education and Diocesan Schools Commissioner. In an interview with The Guardian, Green stated that, quote, I didn't think a school today would go down that route. Green was supposed to visit John Fisher Boys School in Purley, South London, as well as St. John's Primary School in Gravesend, but both events were cancelled. However, the school administrators and governors attempted to proceed with the event despite the announcement. In response, Father James Clark, the school's chaplain, threatened the school administration, saying their actions will have serious consequences in the weeks ahead. The diocese's decision to cancel the event shocked the community. A parent told The Guardian that the cancellation sends a terrible message to the children, adding, quote, who would want to come and teach here or send their children here after this?
Wait, where is this? What country? Oh, the UK. God damn it. How is this happening in the UK? I thought the UK was overly sensitive about this stuff to allow anybody to go anti LGBT.
So in the UK, like the United Methodist Church over there and the Church of England have like really been liberalizing a lot in the quote unquote in the past few years and being a lot more LGBT inclusive. But the Catholic Church is not going down that easy.
Yeah, so this is why I don't buy, like, sometimes I feel like, you know what, you guys need the destructive power of wokeism to come at you. As much as like we're against wokeism ourselves, when I see the Catholic Church, and we're like, I see like wokeism like a grenade, and like, you know what, go at them. Just destroy the institution that is the Catholic Church, whatever, right? Like, you're like, because I feel like wokeism.
Everyone gets blown back by the woke, like just like doof, doof.
Yeah,
like go at them.
I know they're very destructive, the Wokistanis, when they come at, because they destroy everything at their path. But when they're going at the Catholic Church, I will cheer for them, like, because the Catholic, like, just take it down, just take that entire institution down.
That's so funny. I think. So Rudresh is saying, so the book was fine, but the author, what he does in his bed in private bothers the church. Well, so he actually does include like LGBT. He writes like young adult books, and he does include LGBT like themes or characters, but he says that like it's soft romance and like nothing explicit in any way, shape, or form, like no intimacy. It's just like, oh, I like this person. Like, Yeah, this was so crazy. So there were all several national education societies that came out and spoke against this action by the Catholic Church or with these two schools. And they are, I don't know, calling for an investigation into these schools because I guess to some extent, these schools or maybe the Catholic education is publicly funded in the United Kingdom. So they're saying, you know, this is a publicly funded school. Like this needs to be investigated because of we have national mandates about, you know, certain LGBT policies in schools. And these attitudes are in contradiction to those things. So that'd be really interesting to see how that turns out.
What are in these books that are so harmful to children?
Gayness. Like his... I mean, what do you not understand? What he does is a crime against nature. Like it's
like,
it's functionally like a disorder to the Catholic Church.
Is it showing two men, for example, like inserting their genitals into someone else's butthole? Like, is that what the children are being exposed to?
No.
No. Okay, so if it's not that, then what I assume the amount of same-sex relationship that children will be exposed to would be the same level of at the same level of what they have already been exposed to when it comes to two different genders of people coming together. Okay, so you're all just a bunch of hypocrites. All these, every single time a conservative tells you like, the children, save the children, they're too young to be exposed to sexuality. Ask them, how is this more sexual than Snow White being kissed by a goddamn prince? In fact, that is more questionable because she was sleeping and nobody asked her if she wants to be kissed, right? I'm not against the Sleeping Beauty narrative, okay? Is that Princess Fiona? I think that's Princess Fiona, okay? When Princess Fiona in Sleeping Beauty was kissed by a prince, even though she was sleeping, the prince kissed her knowing that the entire nation was asleep, okay? I don't care if you're not giving consent, okay? We're saving the nation. Even if the
wait, if you do not this took a turn.
Even if you do not consent, there are bigger things at play here, okay? Everybody's sleeping and they will stay asleep unless I kiss you, okay? So your consent is a second issue. But when it comes to Snow White, okay, that prince had no idea what's happening. He just found a random woman sleeping in the middle of the forest and he just came and kissed her. Okay, look, imagine what we're teaching to children. How is that okay? But apparently it's okay because they be straight, because that's a woman and that's a man, and nobody questions like, okay, why are people kissing in front of children? My children are being exposed to sexuality. There's two people kissing. That's not an issue, even though that's a horrible lesson that you're teaching to children. Okay, but if they be the same sex, all of a sudden the standards are higher, like no sexuality to children. Okay. But you didn't have the same standard for different sexes, right?
Oh my god. Okay, I just cannot get over the fact that we're like talking about this gay author not being allowed to come, and then it turns into you discussing the utilitarian calculation of whether it's ethical to kiss Princess Fiona sleeping or not. And you're like, yeah. Guys, you know, we need to think about the cost-benefit analysis here.
No, Princess.
We have a nation asleep. It's okay if he kisses her.
Yeah, no, Princess Fiona's kissing was okay.
Armin, like, I can't.
That's okay.
I was like, wait a second, what?
No, Princess Fiona's kissing, even though she was asleep, a-okay, but randomly kissing a woman that is sleeping in the forest, that's a crime. Somebody arrest that prince. Anyways.
Wait, can you look at the live chat while I go to the bathroom quickly?
Okay. So I'm gonna also mention that if the prince knew that she had a curse, okay, and that this curse will like wake her up from the curse, okay, then okay, fine. You know, the cost-benefit analysis makes it okay that you kissed her. But everything I've seen from the evidence that we have at hand from what we have witnessed, from the footage that we have, is that he had no idea what's going on, right? He just showed up at the, there's just like, okay, there's a girl sleeping here, okay? He didn't know anything. Like, nobody informed her about a curse. He didn't know about the apple. He didn't know that she's under a spell, okay? He like, I'm like, look, she's pretty. I'm gonna kiss her, okay? So that's, I know that it ended up working out, but it ended up being the best thing to do. But given that he didn't have the knowledge, his intentions, like, maybe just wake her up first, right? He didn't even try. Like, yeah, maybe if the evidence that we had showed, like, hey, like, lady, are you okay? Why are you sleeping here? Like, are you okay? Like, no, he didn't, like, didn't do anything. He just went for the kiss. Somebody's saying Princess Fiona is Shrek. No, Princess Fiona predates Shrek. Princess Fiona is like a Shrek is just a it's a amalgamation of a whole bunch of different fantasies. Her name is Princess Fiona because it comes from Sleeping Beauty. It's not Princess Fiona because Shrek invented her. Princess Fiona comes from Sleeping Beauty. Like, this is like a very traditional fairy tale. Well, how do you guys not know this? Did these people not like grow up with Disney? Even it predates Disney. These are like traditional stories that Disney made into cartoons. Anyways, oh yeah, okay. Then what are you saying?
I've never thought about the morality of Sleeping Beauty that much.
No, the morality of Sleeping Beauty and Snow White becomes very relevant because none of these conservatives were ever butthurt over straight relationships, and the kids apparently were mature enough to be exposed to that level of sexuality. But as soon as two princes all of a sudden hold hands, all of a sudden all the kids are going to get confused because it's not about gay stuff, it's just sexuality as a whole. Bull crap, it's about sexuality as a whole, and your kids not mature enough. You were never complaining when they were straight. Anyways, unless they're showing porn to kids, gay porn to kids, unless that's what they're showing, then you have no right. You have no input, in no position to complain. Okay,
and that's a friendly reminder to please like this video, because Armin is saying words that YouTube really doesn't.
Yes,
like.
YouTube. I'm not. Please do not strike us down. I'm not in favor of showing porn to kids. I'm just showing how ridiculous.
Don't say it again.
Okay. Okay. All right.
We have an algorithm to contend with.
Somebody saying Sleeping Beauty is. Am I getting
Aurora.
my princesses wrong? Okay,
yeah, her
maybe
name is
I'm getting.
Aurora. I couldn't remember.
Okay, never mind. I got my princesses wrong. I don't care. Come at me. Sue me. Can I clap?
Yes.
Next news.
Atheist pirates clearing illegal religious signage from public life. Atheist street pirates, a subgroup of the Los Angeles-based group Atheists United, has been actively clearing out religious signage illegally posted in public places since 2021. The street pirates began as a joke at an Atheists United meeting when members complained about religious signage all over the city. The idea started as a quote-unquote religious rubbish removal, which eventually became the Atheist Street Pirates. The group is not removing any signage from any church property, as those signs maintain the separation of church and state. Evan Clark, the executive director of Atheists United, said he understands that people put a lot of passion behind these signs in their messages. I just wanted to do this as a casual thing to keep our streets secular. The group has already tracked more than 70 signs across Los Angeles County on their Google Map database. They have an inventory with photos and locations of the signage they encountered. To maintain consistency, Clark also said that if his team encountered any atheist signage in the public space, they would take that down as well.
I'm against this separation of church and state. That doesn't mean that you can't have religious advertisement of religious in public places. Separation of church and state means that you can't have religion in government. It doesn't mean like no public advertisement of anything religious. I think this is a violation of free speech, and if you believe that, and okay. What do you think separation of church and state means? That people can't put an ad, a religious ad in public?
No, so the idea is not that this is literally a violation of constitutional rights. These signs are illegal. They're not supposed to be there, right?
Why?
So because it's clutter, it's litter, it can damage public property, it
Okay,
can
just say that.
distract people, it can distract people on the highway. There's no problem if it's on their own property, but technically in these public places it is illegal. And
then why did they state that? Then why? First of all, two things based on that. Why did they state separation of church and state? One, two. Are they removing other ads that have nothing to do with religion, or just the religion one?
Well, okay.
Because
to be fair, it wasn't
say
them saying the separation of church and state. It was our writers talking about that it's fine and not a violation, or it's not illegal and because of these things anymore, because when it's on their own property.
Okay. So if this is illegal, then the religious nature of them doesn't make them illegal. Any other advertisement would also be illegal like this, right? So let's just be clear about that. And also, this is not putting, I just want to be clear with our community that putting a sign that says Jesus is the way, okay, in public is not a violation of church and state separation, okay? Because you should be in favor of religious people being able to advertise their religion in public spaces if you're in favor of free speech. That's an expression of free speech. If they're doing it in a way that is against the law, that is hazardous, that is like providing is like, I don't know, spreading garbage or whatever, and you have to be consistent. Like, you would have to take down a similar sign that is promoting, for example, Atheist Republic, would also be illegal and would also have the same. You should be against that as well, right? Just be consistent with it, right? That's all. Anyways, that's all I have to say, because I have a meeting with my family in 15 minutes, and I want to make sure I get to that.
Yeah, no, I just want to say they're not trying to say that this is about them, this group being bothered by the fact that they see so much religious preaching everywhere in Los Angeles, and they're like, we don't like how this reflects our community, because a lot of it is very fear-based messaging about going to hell and repenting and all this stuff. It's like, we just want to clean this up. We would like our streets to not overrepresent a certain religious population, because we have a really diverse community here.
Okay, and I said my...
no one likes to hear about hell, you know?
Well, okay. Sure. Well, I mean, I said already my opinion. I just want to make sure that we get to the next news.
I can see the battle within you. Like, I want to say something, but I have a time constraint.
Exactly. Sure. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Sure.
Yes. Next news.
Next news. South Africa's draconian internet censorship laws, a danger to atheists? On February 11th, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and Communications Minister Khumbudzo Ntsavenni signed a proclamation enacting the Internet Censorship Act of 2019, giving extensive power over to the Film and Publications Board, or FPB. The bill was intended to, quote, protect children from disturbing and harmful content and, quote unquote, regulate the online distribution of content. However, civil rights watchdogs warn of the chilling effect this law could have on free expression. Dominic Cole, the founder of Ellipsis Regulatory Solutions, a legal advisory firm specializing in telecommunications law, criticized the law, stating that the bill is extremely badly written, adding, if I upload something which someone else finds objective and they think it is hate speech, they will be able to complain to the FPB. Dean Kruger, a leader of Atheist Republic's Cape Town consulate, fears that the law could be used against secular or online content, stating to the Atheist Republic news team, the troubling aspect of the act is the vague definition of what amounts to hate speech. Dean added, we understand this restriction and have been especially aware of to direct our criticism of religion at the religions per se and not the followers of any religion.
All right, and we have a video.
Yeah, so I wanted to cover this because Dean came to me, and he also runs our Atheist Republic Cape Town YouTube channel, which is our African Atheist Republic channel. So guys, please check out the channel. And he was saying, Susanna, like, I might have to stop doing this channel. I might have to stop doing content because of this internet law that came into effect. Because there's so many different aspects to it that we can't get into about you. Like, you having to register all this stuff with the board before you do it, then basically makes putting any content online like possibly illegal or in contravention to the law. Like, just any video on YouTube putting it could be in contravention of this law, and it's impossible. So Dean was telling me about this, and so I wanted to cover this. And also on our website, we interviewed Dean about this issue. And so Dean on the Atheist Republic Cape Town YouTube channel did a whole video about this issue in this bill. It was hilarious with another Atheist Republic community member, Teresa, about this law. And wait, what's it titled? It's titled Atheist Republic Cape Town Internet Censorship Bill Implications and Discussion. So I really encourage you guys to go check out this video because I learned a lot about this bill. And it is very interesting how much hate speech is, again, couched as a thing towards about objectionable content. All in these things that are, you know, offensive to religious sensibilities. So there are aspects of it that just reeked of a blasphemy law to me. And now it's in effect in South Africa. But the one benefit is that's not actually the focus of this bill. This bill is more focused on revenge porn. And then they kind of stuffed all this stuff in it. And it would be almost impossible to enforce. But I am concerned about the status of free speech in South Africa and how this can affect, you know, people who really openly criticize religion in South Africa because of this.
All right, so just one final point before we go to the next news. People who are interested in, you know, secularism and atheism in Africa as a whole, like, I know this is called Atheist Republic Cape Town, but this is not just, this channel is not just about South Africa. It's about all secular and atheist related thing in the entirety of Africa. So if you're interested in that, just subscribe to the YouTube channel called Atheist Republic Cape Town, and also go watch this video and give it a like. Cool. They're doing a lot of great work there. I'm so proud. I hope they get to keep doing what they're doing.
I know Dean makes good content. Like, I really like to watch their videos, genuinely.
It's very detailed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dean. Anyways, can we clap for the next news? Yes.
Sure.
Next news.
Next news. New study. Women, Republicans, and Southerners are more likely to hide their atheism. A new study published in Social Forces shows that female atheists and those from Republican, Southern, or religious backgrounds are more likely to hide their non-belief. The authors found that, quote, atheists in some social locations report higher levels of identity concealment. Using new survey data from a nationally representative sample of U.S. adults, the study revealed that, quote, atheists who feel like social or institutional outsiders are more likely to conceal their identity. In an interview with Religion News Service, Frost, the study lead's author, explained that due to being a member of a marginalized group, individuals are, quote, less likely to take on the additional stigma of being an out atheist. Eklund, another one of the authors, said the study, quote, suggests that openness about one atheist identity may help combat some of the effects of the stigma they face. And Shetlul, also one of the authors, added that, quote, the ability to gather with fellow atheists may help encourage this openness and provide individuals with a safe place. Atheist organizations can, quote, make it easier for atheists to choose identity affirmation over concealment and even face the perceived hostility.
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions in this, but it will be controversial, and it'll open a can of worms that we right now don't have time for it. So maybe if
I want to know though.
if one brings it up in next week's Q&A, then we could spend more time on it. But given the time that we have, but this is like, yeah, this is expected. I'm glad that we have studies that confirms it, so we could address it more. So we have actually like some evidence. So if we want to address it, we don't just claim that this is just what we see in our communities, right? We actually have data to back it up. That's always important.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I thought
so
it was really interesting how, because the one author was talking about, you know, like being from a marginalized group, you're less willing to take on additional stigma. And it was funny because that's not like women Republicans and Southerners are not who, you know, we normally think of as a marginalized group, but they framed it in relation to feeling like a social or institutional outsider, which I thought was really interesting. It goes funny as saying, as a girl originally from the South, this kind of makes sense. I feel called out. Damn. Can you give us a tease of your controversial thoughts?
I think like it's both some elements of social pressure and also nature. Like it's not all social differences. It's also some other things as well.
Okay,
that would be
interesting.
That would
I
be
see how this gets spicy now.
Yeah. Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
Well, I don't like it, but we're gonna clap for it because it's Atheist Republic news, and it's always good to clap for Atheist Republic news.
Okay. Next news.
YouTube rejects Atheist Republic's monetization application. So, guys, we've talked about it, you know, many times, but it comes up again and again. And it is the fact that we are fully demonetized on YouTube. And we have been for over a year now because of supposedly violating their community standards on hate speech. What did we do that was hateful? They won't tell us. Where did we violate this? They won't tell us. They just throw a vague accusation at us, you know, take away just a stream of revenue, just rip it out from underneath us, and just say, go fix it. And so we've, you know, deleted hundreds of videos. We've been trying to reapply for months. And when you submit for reapplication, it says that your submission will be under review and that you'll hear back from YouTube in a month. And we applied in September and we still haven't heard back. So I have been tweeting at Team YouTube on Twitter and bothering them, saying, you know, talking about how unfair they've been treating us and the frustrations in working with them as a creator on this platform. And so on March 3rd, I tweeted, at Team YouTube, we have been demonetized for a year. We've reapplied for monetization in September, and we still haven't heard back. We deleted half of our library, 10 years worth of work, and still nothing from you. Why do you treat your creators like this? And then they tweeted back and being like, oh, we'll go look at this, blah, blah, blah. And then a few days later, on March 6th, they say, update, upon checking, we found out that your channel doesn't comply with our terms. As a result, you'll lose access to monetization tools and features associated with the YouTube Partner Program, which is the monetization program. Note that once you've made the changes, you can reapply in 30 days. So I was like, oh, great. I just found out that our application for monetization got rejected again for no reason.
But it hasn't been rejected, because if you actually go to the monetization, you actually see that our reapplication is still, it says under review. And it says, if you go actually to, like, you look at the channel monetization page, it says you reapplied on September 27, 2021. We will review your channel and email you with a decision typically within a month. This was in September 2021. They said it takes a month, and we still haven't heard back to them. They say that this application was rejected, but you can see that it hasn't been rejected, because when it gets rejected, it tells you here, and it tells you when you can reapply. That hasn't happened. So this reply tweet is, they're saying this, but that's not actually what has happened. So I don't know. I think this is just a canned response. Like, this is like nobody, they just copy and paste these responses.
No, usually when you get canned responses, this is the first time it was different.
Okay. So what did you respond?
Oh, so then I responded, you said the reapplication takes a month. It took almost 6 months. We deleted hundreds of videos because you wouldn't tell us which videos violated your policies and how. We've been demonetized for a year. This is insane. How did we not comply with the terms? And then they just say, oh, just go check out the article on our website. Go check your email for, explaining what you did wrong. And the email is, you violated hate speech policies. That's
yeah,
it.
like, so they reply. They reply.
Didn't tell us where, didn't tell us why. Like,
they reply. We recommend checking out the article previously provided for more information about content that can be monetized on YouTube. Also, learn about our monetization policies here, guys. We have deleted the mildest of, like, any video that could potentially be hate speech, even though it's not, because we don't do hate speech. We remove them. And we know how what YouTube considers hate speech. Like, we had videos of defending minorities, but because we quoted other people who were against minorities, they thought we're saying that, and we got a strike for it. And we challenged that, and they were like, "Oh, that was not hate speech." We had videos of us describing other people's, like, a church's conspiracy theory about the pandemic, and be fighting against these conspiracy theories, and they thought that we're spreading misinformation about the pandemic, even though it wasn't us. We were just reporting other people spreading it, and we were, like, clearly against it. We got a strike for it, and then we challenged it, and that strike was removed. But at least with the strikes, you know which video they have a problem with, and then you could challenge that. When it comes to demonetization, they don't tell you. That's why we had to delete years worth of work. We had to delete it off of YouTube channel, because we thought, like, if we delete all of these videos, potentially it will capture the videos that they have an issue with. But our reapplication they haven't even processed our reapplication. A reapplication that has to take, they say, takes a month. We've been waiting for it for 6 months, and we have been under not monetized for about a year, and their responses to us goes like, "Oh, you have been denied," even though we haven't yet been denied. So because we haven't been denied, we can't even reapply again. Like, at least if we were denied, then we could reapply again. But now we're just in that limbo, and we can't even reapply. And they're like, okay, even when we eventually are able to reapply, we don't know what to do, because what are we gonna do? Should we delete another half of what we have up, because we don't know which ones to delete? So it's, like, ridiculous. Like, they just don't want us to be here, because we don't know what to do. It's ridiculous for our channel to be accused of hate speech, because our channel is so dedicated to make sure that we don't cross the line on being anti-people. Like, we are a channel that is very aggressively against religion, but is also very aggressively pro-people and pro-minorities, pro-people, pro-oppressed people. Like, we are a great channel that is an example of how to make sure that if you're against Islam, you don't turn that into hatred towards Muslims. And in fact, not only you don't turn that into hatred towards Muslims, you go out of your way to defend Muslims against any form of discrimination and hatred. If you're against Hinduism, how you don't turn that into hatred towards Hindus, and you go out of your way to defend Hindus, and you express, you try to, we are the channel that tries to be a place for people that are frustrated with religion, and we provide them a place for them to be able to express that without encouraging them to turn that into hatred towards any group of people. This is the channel that does that. If you are against hate speech against groups of people, I think nobody has done a better job at making sure that we have a red line between going after ideas versus going after people. This is a channel dedicated to that. And if we are being accused of hate speech, like, what is your hate speech? Like, we haven't violated any of YouTube's community guidelines. They keep like, "Oh, just read this article." We have read it many times. We don't violate any of it.
Hakikiju gets to have ads on his videos.
Yeah, Daniel Henraju, who publicly advocates for execution of LGBT community, he gets to have monetization. But we might be even demonetized for simply mentioning that Daniel Henraju advocates for the execution of LGBT people, and he has monetizations on his channel, and we don't. So, guys,
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, we need the money. Like, we have expenses. We have a lot of expenses. we can't. There's a lot of things that we can't do because of this demonetization. By the way, guys, if you want to support us because of all this demonetization, our Patreon is in the description. Please consider supporting us on Patreon. Link is in the description. Please like the video. Please share our channel so that we grow, so that we could get more people to support us. And also, please, if you know anybody that could help us with YouTube, that has any connections or have any knowledge of how we deal with this demonetization, please email us your connections or your advice to Susanna. The email is Susanna@atheistrepublic.com. Right? So Susanna, I think, is posting that in the live chat. And again, please support us in any way you can. Please don't support us financially if you're struggling. Please make sure you do not support us financially if you're struggling financially. We appreciate just the likes and shares of our videos. That's a lot of support as well. Okay, so so this is Susanna's email. Thank you, Susanna, for putting that there in the live chat. Susanna@atheistrepublic.com.
Before we end today, I do have a short announcement. So next week, there will not be a news next week. There won't be a news show next week because Armin and I, we need a break. We've been working really hard for 2 years straight. So next week we are going to be, not next. We'll have the Q&A this coming week.
We have the Q&A.
And then there won't be news show on, it's the 19th if you're in North America, and I guess the 20th pretty much everywhere else. But then we will be back again on Saturday the 26th or Sunday the 27th, depending on what time zone we live in. So we will be back, and I will remind you guys about it during
the Q&A is still there though, right?
Yes.
So next week we'll see you on the Q&A.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that has stayed with us, through all these times and continuing to support us. We really appreciate it, right? And thank you to also all our patrons, because
we wouldn't be able to do what we do without our patrons. That's for sure.
You guys,
amazing.
When we got demonetized, a lot of you responded by becoming patrons, and we really appreciate that. So thank you for that.
I had a lot of fun today.
Yeah, me too. All right.
So I was saying, America will become a theocracy in the week that we don't cover.
Oh no. Okay. All right, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.